is yours. Nothing stop you. We can fight this together.
Yo, what is up, everybody? I just want to thank you guys so much before we begin for the 100 subscribers, dude. It means so much to me, like you won't believe, and I feel like we've come so far. I just want to thank you guys again for the support. You guys are awesome. Yo, what is up, everybody? Ghosty here. We're coming at you with the Arc build. We're using Lucky Raspberry. This is really just a build centered around the exotic perk. Where essentially it's damaging people with the arc bolt grenade. It gives us a jolt and also refunds energy on jolt and ionic traces, which is also strong against overload champions. I'm of course running double arc resist and stacks on stacks with discipline just to help us get those nades back, but max discipline is not really necessary. Uh, Momentum transfer just to help that cycle of applying jolt and kind of skipping around. But for those who need it, here are the mods. Uh, Knowledge Tomb, pretty self-explanatory in that department. As long as you're running max resilience, you don't have to really run it. Weapons are interchangeable. I'm using Mirror Maga just because I really like it right now, and because our artifact's so nice on Strand in the new seasonal weapons. But I also just don't like sidearms. If you want to use a sidearm, feel free to use one like the Call. Uh, Coronios is a very integral part of this build, as well as Queensbreaker just for the unstoppable champions and burst DPS if you guys want it. Now, in terms of aspects and mods, you have Tempest Strike to apply Jolt and get Bolt Charge. Ascension just to apply Bolt and get Amplified. Arc Bolt Grenades, of course. Combination Blow, and if you really want to, Disorienting Blow, but I prefer combination just to get my melee back in case I accidentally punch something. Uh, Really the last two are interchangeable by choice. Doesn't really matter that much. In terms of fragments, here they are. Really just centered around giving us our jolt and our abilities. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We will not be taking advantage of any search mods. Let's get into it. Alrighty, now for the active build breakdown. It's kind of really self-explanatory in terms of the whole thing. You kind of want to get into the cycle where, ideally, you throw your arc grenade, use your Tempest Strike, use Ascension. By that time, you should probably have your arc bolt grenade back. You throw your arc bolt grenade because we're using combination works on such a short cooldown and we're getting so many bolt charge stacks. By using the Ascension, we get Tempest Strike back, which will then give us our arc bolt grenade back. As you can see now, we've already had arc bolt grenade and Tempest Strike available to us more than Ascension, which is I believe like a 40-second cooldown compared to like a minute cooldown and 50-second. But here in terms of Chronicles, you just want to be getting the jolts off. It doesn't really matter about the gun's damaging itself, because a lot of that will come from the artifact mod and the jolt, which we will be getting, as well as the bolt charges, which will then give us, like I said before, our abilities again. And it is actually pretty good on like red bars, and you can kind of take advantage of these beefier enemies. This is where the sidearm probably would have came in handy, but I refused to use one, so we're just gonna muscle them down. So, like I said, Romulus, it actually kind of benefits a bit more for beefier enemies when using jolting feedback, as you kind of can apply more jolt over a longer period of time, whereas smaller adds, some of them might die in some cases before you can kill them. Like I said, I really don't, I don't really wouldn't recommend using this thing. I just really like it for some reason. And you really have to be careful because sometimes Tempest Strike is very annoying, as you just saw, and does not proc despite you running and sliding. Definitely bit me in the bum a few times during this, well, a couple times, not a few. As you'll probably see, but yeah, it's been a very long time since I've done this Nightfall. This is like the season I took a break because I just wasn't all that interested in the game. Um, so if I seem to forget what the encounter is, that's probably why. Um, yeah, I just wasn't the fondest of battlegrounds, and I found him a little repetitive. I'm not gonna lie, but I did like the abundance of ads that came with them, but in terms of story, I just wasn't too compelled to actually follow. Just personally for me, like one of those stale states of Destiny, where it's like they're moving pieces, but they're moving a little too slow for my liking. Now, I think we should break down Queensbreaker a bit here. Um, because my first two slots don't really require an exotic to do this job perfectly. Um, I really just left the heavy ammo slot, and there's really a need for this build. I feel to like just do heavy amounts of like damage, like those beefier ads, which would get you into a troublesome spot such as unstoppable ogres. And I was like, well, what's better for unstoppables than another for in terms of this build at least, than another arc weapon which can stun them, specifically an arc heavy weapon. And Queensbreaker's just doing so well right now that you can really just turn around, go onto the single shot mode, which just blinds targets, turn around, blind the ogre, get it done and over with, unless you accidentally switch to marksman mode, or whatever the 3-burst mode is called, and you shoot them with the 3-burst mode like I just did. But yeah, unless you're doing DPS, I'd say stay on the one-shot mode, because it can get you out of a lot of tight situations, as it just did for me there. And it still does a lot of single target damage, especially for me, because I don't have rewind rounds for some reason. Well, not really for some reason, because I refused to use Queensbreaker unless I was in Gambit before this. So my catalyst may or may not only be on 9% completion. But in terms of, outside of that, not really much to this build. This one mixing a little bit of DPS where I could, hence the Tempest Strike, which I'm not even really going to use here because the Warlock already popped Chaos Reach. For now, I'm just going to leave you guys with the final few minutes of gameplay. Hope you guys enjoy and have an awesome day. I'll see you guys at the end.
I don't know how the mindscape works, but anything wearing Sabathun's face is trouble. Run it through with the spear, Guardian.
Alright, and that's the build, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed that one. I know I sure did, and I'm sure you guys can have a lot of fun with your own takes
Good
on it.
work. I've
And
ordered a
if you have any other
cruiser to
ideas to
perform
alter
a
this
light
build, make sure to let me
bombardment
know
on
in
the
the
fleeing
comments,
hive.
because I really
Excellent.
do like reading
Deploy a
these
team, hold
statements.
the area after
So
we're
here's the
through.
final results.
Already
Like I
done,
said, a
Empress.
very close race
I can
between all of
see
us.
now where Commander Zavala gained his tactical acumen.
Hey guys, a very wise monkey at a zoo told me that you guys need to subscribe so we can hit our next milestone of 200 by the end of the year. I think we should do what he says.